I don't know how it's possible that Volk can be underappreciated, but I think like we overlook. I don't think we overlook him. Maybe we take him for granted.
Yeah.
He's just been so good for so long. Has not lost yet in the UFC. 10-0 in the UFC. He's won 20 straight fights. Just one pro fight in his career in the loss column. It just makes me think of other guys who might be underappreciated in the UFC ranks throughout the years. Give me some underrated stars.
All right, some underappreciated stars. The first name that comes to mind for me is Arnold Allen. And I mean, maybe it's some recency bias there based on what he did in UFC London, but I mean, the man, he's 18-1, 11-fight win streak, 9-0 in the UFC lightweight division. That is so hard to do. And then what he did to Dan Hooker, he needs to be a household name ASAP. Leon Edwards, I mean, the fact that we're talking about potentially Khamzat Chimaev getting a title shot ahead of this guy is so disrespectful. 12-2 in the UFC. He's beaten so many good guys. He's on a ridiculous win streak and still does not get his due. I actually put Volkanovski on the list because even though this week we've been singing his praises and talking about his greatness, as we should,
he gets quickly forgotten about.
He gets quickly forgotten about, exactly. Yeah. And I think part of it is because he beat everybody's favorite fighter twice. And there's a big fan base that isn't going to jump on the train of anybody who beats Max Holloway, especially if it's not in the most dominant fashion. You can make a case, yada, yada, yada. So I think that's the biggest crack against him, is that he beat someone that everybody loves. I'm going to throw Carla Esparza in there, actually, because I feel like in the women's division, you don't have a lot of people with super shiny records, and she doesn't have the shiniest of record. But this woman has been fighting at the top of the top for a very, very long time. She's an OG of women's MMA. She fought Megumi Fujii, and if you guys don't know who he is,
I didn't know that.
Her fourth pro fight. Megumi was 20-0, and Carla was 3-0. That's the type of competition that she's been taking on her entire career. She's on a fantastic run right now, obviously going to be challenging for the title coming up. And then lastly, Magomed Ankalaev. The guy is an absolute savage. I think sometimes the fighters that don't speak great English or don't have the most bubbly, gregarious personalities sometimes get overlooked because they don't make the big call-outs, but man, he's a savage.
All right, RJ back with us again, double fisting as per usual.
I got some catching up to do.
With RJ Clifford.
It's that fighting spirit.
Underappreciated UFC stars currently on the roster. What do you have?
Can we just all acknowledge that Laura sobered up somehow in the last 10 minutes?
No, she's not. She's not. Yep.
Well, we got some games here that seem like they can sober anybody up.
So I'll start with Askar Askarov. I'd say I was the president of his fan club. I think I'm the only member of the fan club. But somebody has to love him, and I will. He was undefeated before he fought Kai Kara-France. I mean, absolute fantastic fighter, but no one gives him any love. Again, the language barrier and his style of fighting. Awesome fighter. Rafael dos Anjos. Excuse me.
See?
Gotta wash that down. RDA. Rafael dos Anjos. He's fought 8 either current, former, or future champions. 2 different weight classes. Absolutely fantastic fighter. Fought the best of the best, former champ.
Fights guys on short notice, no matter where his ranking is or something like that.
No matter the style, no matter the time, no matter the place. And that's what we ask our fighters to do, right? Just fight really good guys, fight often, and win most of the time. And he does that. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a guy that very few people are talking about. 15-0, 15 finishes. I'm telling you, I'm convinced. Like, I can't think of any 2 fighters that I can say who aren't current champions that will fight for a title one day against each other than Rakhmonov and Khamzat.
He's kind of Khamzat without the hype a little bit, right?
I swear they will fight for the welterweight title against each other one day. And Volk, obviously, Volkanovski. Yeah. He's the ultimate pro. It's weird how, we ask fighters to be professionals, but we love the fighters that aren't.
Yep.
You know, Connor's antics and Colby's
story of my
insults,
life,
right?
Such a great
You're just
point.
too pro. It's held you back your whole career.
Show up a few days notice to make weight. You still suck, bro. All right, cool. Thank you.
And I went weird with my last one. Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Because everyone loves him, but he's so awesome, I don't feel like he can be enough love given to him. Like John Anik said it the best. He said every single year when they give the Fight of the Year award, it needs to be the non-Justin Gaethje Fight of the Year award. Because he win it every year. Every single year. He's that excited. We've never seen it before. We may never see it again. Appreciate it while it lasts.
I love me some Justin Gaethje. I don't know if he's underappreciated.
The way-
RJ.
the way-
He's saying that he can't be appreciated enough.
Yes.
Okay.
The way you
Okay.
phrased
Okay.
it, I'm okay with you putting him on the bottom of your list, but he's universally loved.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Gaethje
He
is.
should be universally in-loved.
Adored. Worshipped.
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
I got, and you could probably attest to this, Bilal Muhammad. I think that he's a great fighter. I think that he's on the come up.
What's
he's
his name
funny.
again?
Bilal.
Oh,
Bilal.
get it?
Bilal.
Remember the name?
Remember the name. But he can fight, and he's willing to fight anybody. And that's what we talked about. He's willing to fight anybody. He's got good charisma. I think he should be a little bit more appreciated. Rob Font. I think I slept on Rob Font for a long time, and I can certainly appreciate what he's doing out there. He's got a great jab, a great skill set, and he wins fights. Norma Dumont. Now here's a name that you don't really hear often, and it's because of her division. I think that she suffers from a very weak division, so she can't get the love that she deserves, but she is a great fighter. Angela Hill. Angela Hill has been on the receiving end of so many bad decisions because she's underappreciated that people just expect her to not be the winner of the fight, so they just give it to the other girl. So she's underappreciated.
I thought the matchmakers were trying to kill her when she came in the UFC with the matchups that they gave her.
And that too.
Andrade, and just
Yeah.
like the best fighter.
And she took them all on. So
Yep.
Angela Hill. And then lastly, Curtis Blades. This guy's only lost 3 times, twice to the champ, and then one to Derek Lewis, which he was winning that fight. I think Curtis Blades, he's going to get himself together and one day get the appreciation that he deserves.
So I brought another beer for whoever finished theirs first, and it looks like there was I thought for sure it'd be Felder, and then Helly kind of caught up, and
No.
It's a tie.
No.
Thanks, buddy.
he looks thirstier.
Oh, he beat you?
I'll get one later.
I'll get you.
Don't worry about
Wait a
me.
minute. So you were nursing your beer?
I was waiting.
I put a nipple on his. It's my fault.
Yeah.
All right,
You have Felder?
I got a list.
All right.
First on my list, we all know him well, Dominic Cruz. I feel like this is a guy who so many injuries have plagued this man throughout his career that I think we sometimes forget how good he was when he was at the top. This guy was dominant. He was a
He'll
champion
remind
for a
you.
long time. What's that?
Just ask him.
Yeah, just ask him. He'll tell you.
Or don't ask him. I'll tell you anyway.
Anyway, Dom, I give you a shout out. Frankie Edgar is another one for me that I think is a guy that is a well underappreciated. This guy's fought anybody, anywhere, anytime, would fly to Korea, all over the world. Jose Aldo, how many times did he fought for the belt? Underappreciated guy, in my opinion. Just a workhorse of the UFC and somebody that when he retires is a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. Just a guy that fought at 155 pounds when he weighed about 145 pounds and would basically be drinking a gallon of water to even make the weight class. And I also agree, I've got Leon Edwards on there. I mean, this guy has just been slicing through people, looking fantastic, just been dying to get a title shot. Strings of bad luck have really set him back.
But if you ask Nate Diaz fans, he'd be dead right now if there were 6 rounds.
That's true. Yeah, of course, right?
I mean, he's lucky to be alive.
And then I put Marlon Vera on there too. This is another guy I think is just so talented and has been working his way towards the top and just doesn't get the shine that I think he deserves. He's so talented. And
He is
again,
good.
he just wants to fight. This guy doesn't care who you put him in, And then even when he beats somebody like Sean O'Malley, you kind of, there's a little bit of controversy there but anyway. And then Andre Arlovski. This is a guy, how long has Andre Arlovski been fighting? And fighting the top heavyweights. This is another guy who just shows up, doesn't care who you put in front of him. Win, lose, draw. The guy's a G, former champion, been in the UFC, outside of the UFC, back into the UFC.
I don't think the internet existed when he started.
Exactly.
My
like
first
the pitbull
fight
with those fang teeth.
Yeah, my first fight in the UFC was in 2001. It was his second fight.
Wow.
That's
On the
wild.
same card.
That's
It was his
wild.
second fight.
And he's still
And he's still at it.
clocking
Yes.
fights.
You
Insane.
take